Lesson 3, using rules of exponents. First, we're going to go over the definition of x to the negative n. So when you have a negative exponent, that negative just means reciprocal. So as long as x does not equal 0, we take the reciprocal of x, 1 over x, and raise it to the positive n power. So the negative just means take the reciprocal. So x to the negative n equals 1 over x to the nth power. So if I had, here's an example, 1/3 to the negative 7th power, I'm just going to take the reciprocal of 1/3, that's what the negative is, so 3 over 1, to the 7th power, or 3 to the 7th, and that would be 1/3 to the negative 7th is the same thing as 3 to the 7th. So if I wanted to simplify, here's another example, negative 5 to the negative 2 power. Well, I keep my negative minus out here. I take the negative 5, make it a reciprocal, that's what this minus sign means, so minus 1/5, that's the reciprocal, and then to the positive 2. So when I square, so I have to do parentheses and exponents first, so my negative sign stays out here. I square a negative 1/5, which is a positive 1/25, so the answer is negative 1/25. So negative, or the opposite of negative 5 to the negative 2 power is just negative 1/25. Now we have what's called the product rule for exponents. So the product rule is just x to the m power times x to the n power equals x to the m plus n. So we just add the exponents when we're multiplying. So for example, if we had x cubed times x squared just equals x to the 3 plus 2, or x to the 5th power. Now we have what's called a power rule, which is just if you take an exponent, like a number that's raised to an exponent, and raise that to an exponent, we multiply the two exponents together. So x to the cubed squared, just the same thing as x to the 3 times 2, or x to the 6th power. That's called the power rule. So here's here's an example where you might be asked to simplify a fraction of variables raised to the different exponents. All over y to the negative 5th times x cubed times y to the 4th times x cubed times x. So let's say we wanted to simplify this. We would use the product rule. So we take all our x's and add their exponents. So we have negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2, plus a negative 4 is a negative 6, plus 5 is a negative 1. So we have x to the negative 1 in the numerator. Then we have y squared times y, which is just y cubed. In the denominator, we're going to have x to the 7th power, 3 plus 3 plus 1, x to the 7th, times y, negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1. Now the negative exponents means reciprocal, so we're going to take this x and bring it down to the denominator, and this y and bring it up to the numerator. So we have y cubed y over x to the 7th x, and then we add exponents, y to the 4th over x to the 8th. And then we would have to write x and y cannot equal 0, because over here we have both x's and y's in the denominator. So always, in your answers, always use answer with positive exponents. Unless, so in parentheses, just put unless instructed otherwise. Very rarely they're going to tell you answer with all negative exponents. Usually they're just going to want you to have positive exponents for your answers. And then we need to remember a couple of other properties. One is x to the 0 always equals 1. Doesn't matter what it is, if you raise it to the 0 power, it will be 1. And then we have a quotient property, which if you divide and they have the same base, you can just subtract exponents. Or you could do 1 over x to the n minus m. So if we bring this up here, it's going to be a negative n. That's why we do m minus n. If we bring this one down here, it'll be a negative m, or n minus m. So here's an example. If I had x cubed over x to the 5th, because 5 is bigger, I'm going to bring the numerator down and make it 1 over x to the 5 minus 3, or 1 over x squared. Now here's an example. X to the a plus 3, parentheses, x, y to the negative 2, all of that raised to the b, all over xy to the negative a. Now we want to simplify. So we're going to take and multiply this b times each of these exponents. So we're going to keep our x, a plus 3. Then we're going to do x to the b. Then we're going to do y, we have to multiply these, to the negative 2b. Over, then we're going to take our negative a here and put x to the negative a, y to the negative a. Now we can bring both of those up to the front and make them positive. But let's first add these together. So we have x, so I'm going to come down here and do x to the a plus b plus 3. Whoops, it needs to be x to the a plus b plus 3, x to the a plus b plus 3. And then I'm going to bring this here up, so it's x to the a. And then we have y to the negative 2b. And then I'm going to bring this a up here, y to the a. Now we add these exponents because they have the same base, and it's a product rule. So we have x to the 2a plus b plus 3. Y, and then I'm going to add these a minus 2b. So this would be simplified version of this problem. Okay, that's the end of lesson 3.